In this lesson, we're going to continue to discuss interactive. If you'd like to follow along, go under the File menu to Open, and in the Sample Files folder, scroll down to 1603, have Buttons All Sewn Up, and just click Open. First, I just want to make sure that you're using the Interactive for PDF workspace. Creating buttons is really simple. If I can say that as a print designer, it must be pretty easy. There's even some sample buttons in the Sample Buttons and Forms panel. All you need to do to use them is just click on the button and drag it out into your layout. And you can actually customize these sample buttons to perform the actions that you want. Let me get this out of the way. We're going to be creating our own buttons from these pre-existing triangles. So I'm just going to delete this button. Let's take a look at this document. I'm going to go into the Pages panel, and you can see that the buttons are actually on every single page. That's because they're part of a master page. Because they're on a master page, they'll work on all of the local pages that have the A master applied to it. Let's double click on A master to go there. And we're going to make these pre-existing triangles into buttons. If you open the Buttons in Forms panel, let me just scroll over so we can see our button. All you need to do is click on the Convert to Button icon down the bottom of the panel, and it's now a button. All I need to do is name it. How about forward, because that's the arrow that is going to take us to the next page. And event on release or tap. So depending on whether we're creating this button for use on a computer or on a device such as an iPad, this is what we would probably want to choose. You could also make it click or on rollover and so on and so forth. So you can choose how the button is actually going to be activated. Now we need to add an action. I'm going to click the plus pop-up menu and choose Go to Next Page. The zoom we're going to leave as it is, but you can actually use the button to change the size of the page that it's going to. Next area is appearance. Normal is how the button usually appears. We can also set up other states. So if we make a state of click, we can change the look of the button for that particular state. So when you click, it's going to look different. Let me go into my FX pop-up to Inner Shadow, and I'm just going to use the defaults. I'm just going to click OK. And you can see now when you click, the button will look inset because of the inner shadow. Let's go to our other button and click on that to select it with the selection tool. First, we need to make it into a button just by clicking the Convert to Button icon. Now we need to name it. I'm going to call this button Back because it's going to take us back to a previous page. In the Actions area, I'm going to click the plus pop-up and choose Go to Previous Page. We're going to leave the zoom as it is, and we want to create a click state and then change the appearance to that same inset kind of a look. So I'm going to go under the FX pop-up to Inner Shadow. And I'm just going to use the defaults. You can see it looks inset, and I'm going to click OK. Let me go back to the normal state. So you can actually go back and forth between the states to see what they look like. In my first button, I also want to choose the normal state. Now, all we have to do is see if it's actually working. Why don't I get my Buttons in Forms panel out of the way so that I can make the preview panel much bigger. I'm going to drag it out, open it up, and now click the arrow to play a preview. It looks like I'm previewing just the master page. So why don't we go under the Options menu to preview document instead. Now it's going to go through the entire document, generating a preview of each and every page. I'm going to click the forward arrow to see what happens. And it does actually bring me to the next slide. Let's do the same thing with the back button, and you can see it's going backwards. And it will go all the way back to the beginning of the document, so it does work. We're going to continue discussing interactive in the next lesson when we talk about authoring forms.